Welcome to Expedition Networking, a special segment of the Networking RX podcast. I'm Frank Agan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections, and your host for this program. For those of you who are familiar, on the Networking RX podcast, we share information and have conversations with experts, such as authors, researchers, and social scientists. And all of these programs are aimed at helping you learn how to become better at building professional relationships and understanding why they work. In this Expedition Networking segment, however, we're going to bring on successful entrepreneurs and unique professionals and explore their networking adventure and learn how they used relationships to create lasting success. Today on Expedition Networking, we have Jennifer Chapman. She partners with her clients on a 12-week journey to overcome the mental and emotional struggle of life, to redefine their purpose, regain confidence, and embrace the new version of themselves after a life-changing event. And Jennifer's got a great story. Maybe not a great story, but she comes at this with experience. Jennifer, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Frank.
Well, take us on your journey, how you got started in this, what led up to all of this.
Okay, so I was in corporate sales for a couple different industries, one for 10 years, and then was recruited on LinkedIn to go to Cintas back in 2015 and had a hugely successful first year there. And was excited to kind of, do it again and hit President's Club and felt the momentum, but also didn't realize how much stress I was putting myself under while trying to do that. So around the third quarter of that next fiscal year, life had different plans for me, and I suffered a life-changing stroke at 34. So I was in the hospital for a week and in acute rehab for 10 days, relearning how to walk and how to swallow and regain balance and adapt to some vision loss. So after that, I was then next phase was outpatient therapy for about 4 months. And I went back to work too quickly, probably. But I wanted to feel normal. I wanted to go back to what I thought I knew. And they opened me with open arms, which I'm thankful for that, and tried to still do that for the next year and a half. But through that, I really, after the physical recovery, really struggled mentally and emotionally and was very just emotionally unstable for months on end and tried therapy. And although that got me to a certain point, I knew I needed more. And so I then hired a life coach, and she was an instrumental part in my recovery and really helped me gain belief back into who I now was and confidence that I had lost. And really it came full circle and really processing the fact that I was grieving the old me and that I had a stroke at the same age my mom was when she passed. So that was the first tragedy in my life at age 11. So it all came full circle to know that I was still here and there was purpose in me to make my mom proud and to pay it forward now to help other women, accept and embrace the new version of themselves after life's challenges.
What was that moment where you decided, hey, I'm going to be a coach?
Well, my coach told me I was going to be a coach before I believed that wholeheartedly. And then last year, really during shutdown, it had allowed me to really take the time to invest in me and through some programs and, working with other coaches and really trying to create this foundation of what I wanted it to look like and now going through my coaching certification. So really last year was a blessing for me to kind of really thrive during what was obviously a really hard time for everybody. But I found I made best use of my time.
No, I think that's inspiring. I've run into lots of people who used it as a do-over. Just the downtime to start a catering business, become a handyman, whatever, just to feel a sense of purpose.
I love that.
Yeah, it's I think it's great, and you're on your way. You're certainly on your way. Um, so you've been through a lot.
I've been through quite a bit in my life already, for sure.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we've spoke a couple times. You're very upbeat. You're, very positive. What are some ways you're doing to kind of get the coaching business going? And I guess that for our listeners to point out, or maybe they don't need to know, but I will. This is my epiphany on it. The word coach is like the word ice cream. There's lots of different flavors of ice cream. And I used to just think, oh, coach, another one. Do we need another one? But then to listen to what you do and what other people do with respect to being a coach, it's vastly different. But I mean, how are you getting this going? How are you working with other coaches? How are you, trying to find clients?
Yeah, great question. I've never heard of the comparison with ice cream. I'm a big fan of that, by the way. And okay. I completely agree with you that if there's an area of life in your life that you want to, take to the next level and want to see improvement on, why not find that support and ask for that help to do that? You're right. There's a coach for every single thing that you could need in life. And they are there to literally just guide you, provide you tools and resources and different things to try on to see what's going to work for you. And that's what my coach did for me. So I believe so far podcasting has really helped me. And I think it's just such a great organic way to share my story and what I do now with audiences out there, depending on the topics that the podcast hosts, want to talk about. So that's been a great avenue, as well as just local networking events here in Indianapolis. I've been able to be a part in quite a few of them, whether it's just as an audience member listening to someone else speak or being a guest speaker within these groups of people and groups, powerful women's groups here in Indy, and for them to be an extra set of eyes and ears for people they know within their network, whether it's family, friends, that maybe need a coach like me to kind of help them get to, maybe they're stuck and just need to get to the other side and just don't know how yet.
Are you mainly dealing with people who have had challenges like you've had, or are there other things that you're dealing with as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've definitely connected with stroke survivors, lots of them over the last 4 years, and young ones. I didn't know before it happened to me that there's stroke survivors in their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s every single day. So I enjoy having those conversations, and I enjoy having conversations with those that are in a similar place as me. The ones that I feel need potential coaching or help or resources of some sort, they're the ones that aren't reaching out because they're not ready yet. They're still stuck in the fact that they want to go back to who they were. They miss the old them. They want to go back to, the way life was. And until they realize that's not going to happen, they're not going to move forward. So I want to get my message out there that it's possible, but if they don't want it bad enough, I'm not going to benefit them. So women that have reached out to me, there's been a few stroke survivors, which I've thoroughly enjoyed connecting with, but also women that are like, okay, I've got, something in life has happened. And I've got a partner, I've got kids, I'm working, but I'm not fulfilled. I'm not enjoying this. There's got to be more. Where do I begin? What's the first step?
Right.
And I can resonate with that. I mean, as grateful as I was to work for a company like Cintas, I mean, slowly but surely, I just felt myself pulling away and just questioning, like, I am no longer fulfilled here. I know there's more. I am meant to do more.
Do you think for a lot of people, it's not knowing that there are people like you out there? I mean, there are, well, you've got well, obviously AA groups and Al-Anon groups. And I
Mhm.
mean, those are very well known. You know, if
Right.
you've got a substance problem, if you want help, it's there. I just wonder if there are people out there that, geez, I need something, but I just don't. My situation's so unique, probably like you felt, you know, while I'm the only 34-year-old in the United States that had a stroke. And then to come to find out that, no, you're not, you know.
Yeah, I honestly think that people are still being guided by or live through fear of change. They just think that because where they work now or what they're doing, just because that's all they know, that they're scared to find out what else is out there and to take that step and invest in themselves. And
Right.
that's just what I would want to share with people is like, you don't have to stay stuck. Like you want to learn how to, what is it going to take to step out of your comfort zone and to see what's on the other side of this fear. Fear can be a guide. It can also keep you stuck and safe. People are scared, you know, they just want to stay safe. Like, but that can be miserable.
Yeah. Do you work exclusively with women, or you just find that women are more open to this sorts of thing?
I find that women are way more open to this sort of thing than men
Yeah.
are. I would be totally open to having a conversation with men that want to pursue something more for their lives, but they don't reach out.
And we don't ask for directions either. It's probably
It's
all
true.
connected.
It's so true.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. As I'm sitting here listening to you talk, and you know, my life is, well, my life's fine. I always have challenges, right? I've got kids, I've, you know, relationships. But I just wonder, and I have had little challenges when I was in college. And I was going through, well, it's after I left college, going through a lot. And I just figured, hey, I just needed to work through it. Now that was back in the 80s. I think the whole notion of coaching really didn't come around until the late 90s. It's all relatively new. But you didn't know who to turn to.
Right.
So before we hit record, you were talking that you do a lot of, well, you're getting a certification. You have a certification program. You're doing a lot of work with other coaches. I guess if you could share, you know, the types of things the types of things you guys do, talk about. I mean, do those people, you guys pass around clients like, you know, hey, this isn't my thing for whatever reason?
I'm starting to see that within we have a Facebook group. And what a powerful group of women that I'm working with. There's 200 of us all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
That are specializing in some sort of coaching, and we're all at different levels. And there's quite a few of us that are still working full time and really feel our passion and purpose is to do this work. So it's exciting to work alongside these women and kind of share our wins and celebrate each other, along with sharing what isn't working, or, you know, the trials and tribulations that come with something brand new. But powerful lessons have been learned through the first 6 months, especially because everything that we're coaching on others, we've coached on ourselves, all the tools and resources that were being provided. The biggest, you start with awareness, acceptance, and then aligned action. And there's sometimes folks are aware of it and don't know what to do about it. And then there's sometimes where they're not even aware of this block that's holding them back. So it's helping them uncover that. It's powerful. And to learn that everything happens from the inside out. And I think a lot of times people are looking for the outside answers and not knowing how to go within first.
What'd you want to do when you were growing up?
Ooh. Well, I've always been into sports. And I was always an athlete growing up, and huge Colts fan still. I don't want to talk about the game yesterday, but
that's okay.
I in my next, in another life, I could see myself being like on ESPN commentating, or being on the sidelines or doing marketing for a huge sports team, NFL team. I always have visions of that.
Interesting. That's what my daughter does. Very interesting. Yeah.
Awesome.
What sports did you play?
I grew up playing tennis. I picked
Okay.
up a racket a month after my mom passed. She had bought me that racket for Christmas, and I picked it up, and I didn't put it down for 7 years. I played year round. So it was my passion. I played softball too and enjoyed that, and was pretty decent at both. And no, I didn't pursue it at the college level. I enjoyed my time at school, but always have been active and working out, taking good care of myself.
Yeah. I think tennis is one of those things that you can continue on and play. It's like golf. I played football. I mean, when I was done, I knew I was done. I'm not doing this anymore.
Right. Yeah. I've actually golf is a passion of my husband and I. So we get out and play as much as we can. So that's been and I think because I play tennis, I'm decent at golf. I can hold my own, but I'm thankful I can still play it after my stroke. Even though I've got some vision loss, it's definitely something that still I want to go out and do better than I did the time before it. So I'm competitive still when it comes to that.
Well, and you're self-competitive.
Totally.
Yeah, you're competing against yourself, which I think that's the best thing, right? Because you're always willing to go out and play. I mean,
totally. You're competing. I feel like I learned that at the corporate sales level.
Right.
When I first started that, I thought I was competing against people on my team, people in our region, people in our company. No, I'm competing against who I was yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And you'll do well because you'll continue to get better and better. What do you do to get through bad days?
Breathe.
Okay.
I say that half jokingly, but half seriously. It's if there's, a tough moment, it's intentionally taking deep breaths, and calming my mind down. I'm huge on meditation. I do it every morning for 10 to 15 minutes. I also do going for a walk. I mean, we love to take our dog out, but it's being outside, whether it's with the dog, by myself, listening to something motivational, a podcast or something like that, just something that will help boost my spirits. And really, at the end of the day, I've also learned that I'm not a huge journaler, I will say, but I do take 5 minutes at the end of the day and acknowledge the small things that end up being the big things during the day. And that if you do that on a consistent basis, you will really start to notice those things more during the tough days, but you can acknowledge, like, man, that was a great conversation I just had with somebody, or man, I really did enjoy the 20 minutes I had by myself this morning before I started my day. Or making dinner for my spouse, whatever that is, those small things are very powerful.
No, I think that's a great practice. A gentleman out there, Dan LaFave, he's a coach. And he encouraged me to do that as well every day, to write down, just, what were the good things from today? And then, the second piece of that, what are the intentions for tomorrow? And always try to do that before the day is over, so it kind of percolates in your head. And then I'll look at that, what are the intentions? I just try and really make sure I hit those every day. They kind of nag me. So
I love that.
Let's shift gears here. Let's talk about your business. Let's talk about types of people you're looking for, types of opportunities you're looking for. Obviously, you're open to being on podcasts. You're on this one. And then how people can get a hold of you.
Yeah. So the types of clients that I enjoy connecting with are those women that have have something, has happened in their life, some type of struggle or challenge, and they now are ready to find acceptance in that and embrace this new version of themselves. That's who I've enjoyed connecting to, and who I want to help moving forward, is like not letting whatever that happened in their life define them in any way. Yeah, it was maybe a defining moment, but how do I move forward with that? Well, how can I use that as a strength in the next chapter of their lives? That's who I want to work with, and help elevate them and show them what their potential is, and support them in who they want to become, and be their number one cheerleader.
Can you give us some examples? Obviously, stroke survivors, and I'm just trying to help you help the audience. I guess not help the audience, help the audience with that epiphany. Like, oh yeah, I mean, stroke seems obvious in this moment, but loss of a child, cancer. I mean, you probably see a lot of things.
Yeah, a client I'm meeting with next week, she has been through not only the loss of her dad when she was late teens, but has now had her own health issues. And she's not even mid-20s and has been through more than a lot of people do in their whole life. But she reached out saying, like, I know I've been through a lot, but I no longer want it to hold me back for who I know I can still be. And I love that. I mean, I am here for that all the way. Another client is trying to just define, her next chapter is she's got, a kid that lives across the world, a relationship that didn't work out, but is really trying to figure out her next steps, her next move. I'm here for that. I love the women that can first recognize it and have the willingness to say, I will try anything. I'm ready for it. So I want to help those ladies out. No,
that's great. Best way to get a hold of you, Jennifer, at justcommitcoaching.com, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can always message me on there, and I'm on Instagram at justcommitcoaching.
Website, justcommitcoaching.com.
Yes. With no www. It's just justcommitcoaching.com.
Okay. I will, I'll put that in the show notes, and I generally will search it and copy it exactly how it comes up. And
okay.
So I won't make that mistake. I just want to make sure I get it right, because there's nothing worse than getting somebody, hey, thanks for having me on your podcast, but the link you put in there doesn't work. It's like, oh crap. And it's easy to fix, but I just want to do it right the first time. So anyhow, well, I appreciate your time here today.
Thanks so much, Frank. I've enjoyed, getting to talk with you not only today, but these last few months, getting to know you. I appreciate it.
To wrap things up, remember, we're looking for some enterprising business types to join our team as franchisees of AmSpirit Business Connections. Our franchisees work with entrepreneurs, sales representatives, and professionals in their area to help them become more successful through networking and the exchange of quality business referrals in a structured weekly morning meeting. This is a unique franchise opportunity, you see, because these meetings are in the morning. A successful business type or professional can add this franchise opportunity onto what they're already doing. Again, all of our franchisees do something else. For a couple hours in the morning, a few mornings a week, these franchisees work the AmSpirit Business Connections model. The rest of the time, they're attorneys, accountants, realtors, coaches, and consultants of various kinds. The wonderful thing is that not only do our franchisees realize a financial gain from operating the AmSpirit Business Connections model, but the business networks that they build and develop become a great source of referrals for their primary business as well. Perhaps you know someone, perhaps you are that someone. Whatever the case, to learn more about the AmSpirit Business Connections franchise opportunity, please contact me using the email in the show notes or the one we provide at the end of this program.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.